Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikita. I'm so happy you're here. And on this channel, we focus on the inclusion of BIPOC, especially South Asian stories in fiction and in real life. So we have a lot of book chats, book recommendations, and we have my podcast called Brown People Problem. Now, sadly, where I am, it is still not the ideal, chilly, amazing autumnal weather, but I am still in my fall sweatshirt, really sweating here right now, so we will do this quickly. If any of you are interested, this is a sweatshirt I designed myself. It says look on the bright side, and it's just got a little ghost. I have an Etsy shop, and I will link that down below for those who are interested in taking a look at this. Last year when I designed these, I absolutely lived in this one. And then there's another one called Give 'em Pumpkin to Talk About. So I love puns and I love affirmations as well. So affirmations combined with puns. So yeah, if anyone's interested, I will certainly link everything below. So today I'm sharing some cozy mysteries that I have on my TBR or that I recommend for the fall season. Now, I know everyone has a different preference, and I will be doing a different video with some, I guess, more thriller recommendations or more horror recommendations, even though I'm not the biggest horror fan. But I absolutely love cozy mysteries and I love cozy BIPOC mysteries, so I wanted to share some of those here today. Alright, if you've been around for some time, this first one is not going to be a surprise. This is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jesse Q. Sutanto. I absolutely loved this book. I have read it. It's certainly one of my top books of this year up until now. And this, for me, is the epitome of a cozy mystery. It has all the right elements in it. So very quickly, this is a story about Vera Wong, who is an elderly Asian American, Chinese American woman living in San Francisco's Chinatown, and she owns a tea shop and she lives above her tea shop. One day she wakes up and comes downstairs and sees a dead body in the middle of her tea shop. And so from there unravels obviously a murder investigation, and Vera is so endearing and so amazing. She takes it upon herself to solve this mystery because she doesn't trust the police to be able to do it, and because she's so adorably meddlesome, she decides to solve it herself. And you have a lovely cast of characters, very relatable, and Vera herself, like, I really wish to see more of Vera. She was hilarious. She was also very maternal and very warm, but not in like those traditional ways. She's also very strong-headed, and she is very outspoken, and she's very quirky. And you know, when you think of like an outspoken grandma who doesn't think twice before saying something that she wants to say, and she will speak what's on her mind, that's the kind of character that Vera reminded me of. I absolutely loved it, and I would recommend this for the fall season. All right, after that, I have another favorite from this year, and that's Dial for Aunties, also by the same author, Jesse Q. Sutanto. And I absolutely loved this. I read this before I read Finley Donovan, which is actually not on this list. I'm not sure why, but it's also a great cozy mystery for fall. First one of two, and apparently now there's a third one also coming out sometime next year, I believe. But this is about our main character, Madeline Chan, who basically goes on a date with this guy and ends up accidentally killing her date. And so her Indonesian American aunties kind of step in to help her deal with the aftermath and the dead body, and it's absolutely hilarious. You have great cultural commentary on the Indonesian American kind of lived experience. You definitely hear a lot from Madeline's perspective as well of what it's like to be a child of immigrants. All of it is wrapped up in this hilarious family endeavor to help Madeline, and it is, like all cozy mysteries are, it is a little bit outlandish, and it sure can be a little bit unrealistic, but it's really funny. I absolutely loved every single auntie in here. They were all infuriating, but also really lovable the next page. So This is such a great one. I would recommend it if you haven't checked it out already. Finley Donovan, this is the one that I was talking about. This is Finley Donovan is Killing It by El Cosimano. I have only read the first one. Apparently this is a series. Apparently there's 3 or 4 in here. I have a very hard time with continuing with series because often I have found that the second and the third just never live up to the first in the series for me, unless we're talking about Harry Potter. And it just, the story just doesn't carry itself for me. Sometimes it feels like a bit of a drag. I don't know if this is the case in this. I don't want to make any assumptions, but I am taking my time moving on with this series. But this is also a great cozy mystery, very outlandish, very hilarious. But this follows Finley Donovan, who is basically, she's at a Panera Bread with a friend, and somebody overhears a conversation and mistakes her for like a hit woman. And so they decide to hire her to get rid of someone for them. And it is, even the premise is so outlandish, but it was actually very funny, very endearing. Finley Donovan is, in a way, very realistic and very relatable because she's a single mom of, I believe, 2 kids or 3 kids. Yeah, 2 kids. You know, she's a struggling single mom. She's a struggling novelist. She's trying to make ends meet. And you know, her life is sort of a bit of a chaos, and one thing or the other keeps happening. So in that sense, it's relatable, and it was very endearing, and it's also very cozy. So it has the mystery element, it has the thriller element, but without being super gory or like destabilizing for you. So one cozy mystery that I would like to read this fall that I have started, but I'm slowly making my way through it, is Arsenic and Adobo by P Menansala. I have heard quite a bit about it. I have just stayed away from this series. I don't know why, like it just wasn't at the forefront of my mind. So I've decided to pick it up. It's more of like a kitchen-based cozy mystery. So what that means is, you know, where somebody eats something and then there's like a mysterious death. And so there's food is really kind of at the forefront of this story. And so it follows Mia, who moves back home to help her family save their restaurant. I believe it's her grandmother, Tita Rosie. It's her restaurant because it is a bit of a failing restaurant. And then her ex-boyfriend comes in, who is also a food critic, and there's an argument and he just drops dead. And that's where our story starts. It's all in the back cover. I'm not ruining anything. That's all I know about it. And I know that the food is really at the forefront of this, and I am excited to read it. I am about 15% through. It has not enraptured me the way Diary for Aunties or Vera Wong did, but it's good enough. I'm going to keep giving it a try, and I will report back on how it is. But just the premise, it sounded really fun. It sounded really good. The next book that I think is perfect cozy mystery for fall is The Unexpected Inheritance of Inspector Chopra by Wasim Khan. This is, I recently read it. I talked about it in my last video as well, and I recently finished it, and I thought it was great. I'll be sharing more thoughts on it in my wrap-up video at the end of September. But it wasn't, I guess, as cozy of a mystery as some of the other books, and didn't have a lot of comedic elements, but it also wasn't so much of a blaring thriller or like a disturbing mystery. But it basically follows Inspector Chopra, who is a detective, and the story starts off on the day of his retirement from the police force. The book is set in Mumbai, India, I believe 20 years ago, but it's not historical fiction. I think the book just came out a couple decades ago, if I'm not wrong, and so it was set in the present time then. And of course, as luck would have it, on his last day when he is supposed to retire, there's a murder of someone from a lower caste, so there isn't too much of attention given to it, and he becomes curious by it. And then also at the same time, he receives an unlikely inheritance, which is a baby elephant gets dropped off to his house by this mysterious uncle. And I have not read many books with animals in them, or like cozy mysteries with animals in them, and just the cover is adorable, and just something about this idea of like a baby elephant helping him solve murders is very adorable, and that's what really brings in the cozy element for me. So usually, you know, other books have a bit of a romance trope in them, or they have you know, really hilarious family dynamics. In this one we don't have it either, but we have cute baby animal that's somehow involved in the story. So I thought it was a different kind of a cozy mystery. I really enjoyed it, and I will be starting hopefully soon the next part, which is the perplexing theft of the jewel in the crown. And apparently this has to do with the Kohinoor being stolen from the crown of the Queen of England when the crown jewels come to India for some sort of an exhibition. So I think that's also going to be a great cozy mystery. The next book that I'm actually hoping to start this fall is Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. I really hope I pronounced that right. This is I believe a newer book. This was already on Good Morning America's book club list, and it sounds really interesting. So I don't know too much about it. I have just read the blurb on Goodreads, and I also don't think I would like to go into this knowing more, but it sounds really interesting. But it's basically follows a few women in a Dominican American family, and they all have different powers. So it's not fantasy per se, but it is a bit of magical realism. I believe in some witchiness in here. But there's one family member who she's a seer, and she can see when someone is going to die. So she decides to have a living wake where she brings in all of her family members, but there is now mystery around who has she seen that is going to die. And I believe that's what the family kind of unravels together. So I imagine you would get a lot of great like family drama, some good cultural commentary, perhaps some like flashbacks as well, family dynamics. I believe it is a multi-generational cast of characters for sure, as is in most family dramas. That's all I know about it. I know it has pretty good reviews. It has a good like solid 3.5 on Goodreads, which for me is actually like a really good rating. So I'm looking forward to this one. I haven't really heard too many people talk about it in the booktube space, but that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It just means perhaps not many people have gotten around to it. But I know that this was also in the book of the month pick for this month, I believe, or last month if I'm not wrong. All right, and the last book that I think would make for a really good cozy mystery read is A Most Agreeable Murder by Julia Seals. And I absolutely love the cover. I am a sucker for aesthetic books. I will admit that shamelessly. That is who I am. And I love the cover. Take a look at it. Isn't it beautiful? I picked this up on a whim. I have not heard anybody talk about this. I did finish this today actually, so I'll be talking more about this one as well in my September monthly wrap up. But what really drew me to this is supposed to be a satire. Yeah, this is supposed to be like a satire and a comedy of every single Regency era mystery. So it is a murder mystery, but it's comedic in the sense that I believe the author is trying to like make fun of all of these basic like tropes that you have in every single historical romance mystery, and it has actually all the right elements too. So it basically follows Beatrice Steele, who is a 25-year-old young woman in the Regency era living in this fictional town called Swampshire, and there is a dinner, and the whole book takes place over the course of this like one dinner in this fancy house called Stabmort Park, where this rich bachelor drops dead. And so everyone, is in this like flurry of activity, and then because she loves solving murders, she decides to solve it. I enjoyed how this was written as well. It's written again in a very old English, very Regency era type of English, and it was quite funny. It has, like I said, it has all the right elements. I personally did not love it, but I liked it. There were certainly some parts that were very laugh out loud funny for me. And again, like I said, like the mystery was actually quite good in here. The murder mystery was good in here without anything being super gory or disturbing. So that's what makes a really good cozy mystery for me as well. And I liked the historical fiction context. So if you like satires, I think you might enjoy this. All right, that's it. That was fast. Those are all the books that I have read and I think would be really good for a cozy mystery for fall, and some books that I am planning on reading as well. If you have read any of these, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And if you think there are any cozy mysteries, especially BIPOC ones, that I should add to my list, let me know. I would be happy to do that. If you'd like some more fall reads, don't forget to check out my last week's video on 5 South Asian stories that would be perfect for fall, and South Asian authors I think would be great for fall to add to your fall TBR. And I will have my Etsy shop as well as my Goodreads linked below if anyone wants to keep up with me on there. Come and say hi. It would be really nice to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking your time out, and I will see you in my next video.